Hi there, Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to a new video in the Getting Started with Notion series. In today's video, I'll be talking about how to keep your Notion workspace organized so it doesn't turn into a mess of pages everywhere all over the place. Now, this video is actually part of a larger series I am making for Getting Started with Notion. I'll leave a link for that down below in the description if you want to follow along. In the last video, we talked about how to get started with Notion for the first time, all the basic tools you need to know for starting your first page. In the next video, we'll be talking about formatting, making your pages look nice. But in this video, again, we'll be talking about page structure and creating a good system to organize all your content. Now, the way Notion works is through a page system. Every time you make a new page, you have the option to add a page as a subpage, and then within that subpage, you can keep adding more pages like that. It's basically a never-ending tree of pages. And if you don't do it right, it can become very overwhelming. I learned that lesson the hard way, but let me show you some best practices for keeping your Notion workspace organized. The first thing you want to know is you want to keep your root level pages on the left side over here. You want to keep them as high level as possible. You don't want to have very specific pages right there in the root level. Typically on the left side in your menu bar, you want to have high level dashboards or just over encompassing pages that you can nest other more specific pages below. So for example purposes over here, I have my YouTube mission control. In the last video we created this. Since then I've added some more information. I've added a nice cover photo and I've added a bunch of my personal YouTube mission control stuff. But at the bottom over here, I have some other pages that I have as subpages. Two of them that I want to show are the content calendar and the sick influence page. Now, both the content calendar and the sick influence page are two things I access very regularly, and it gets very annoying having to go through the mission control page to access both of these pages. So what you can do instead is add a favorite to these pages. So let me show you how that works. If I go to the content calendar over here, I can go to the top and hit the favorite button. And now on the left side over here, the content calendar comes up as one of my favorites. The same thing I'm going to do over here for the YouTube mission control and then sick influence. Once I add this as a favorite, I'll now have two things in my favorites, the content calendar and the sick influence podcast. The point here is that the YouTube mission control is the root level page and I have two sub pages below it. And if I access those sub pages quite often, the best practice is to add them as favorites rather than keeping them as the root level page themselves. Now, the one thing that I found very frustrating when I first started Notion was not being able to have one page underneath several other pages. I like having to reference one specific page, like my content calendar, for example. That is referenced by all my projects and everything else, but I can only have that under my mission control page. So how do you reference one specific page from other pages without actually moving the page itself? Let me show you what I mean by that. In my YouTube mission control, I have a section for who is this channel for. A lot of the information in this section of the page over here is from a class I took called the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. I'll leave a link down below for that if you're interested in taking the class. But more importantly here, I want to reference all my notes from the class that I took because this is only part of the information. If I want to go back and access the full length notes of the class, I want a quick way to get into that without actually moving the class notes from my online courses section over here. I want to keep that in there, but I want to link to it from here. The way you can do that is actually very, very easy. I just press the enter key to create a new block. I'm going to delete the toggle and I'm going to actually enter in two brackets. What the two brackets will do is let you link to another page. So I'm going to type in PTYA for Part-Time YouTuber Academy. It'll look through my database and it'll find that page. I press enter and now I have a link to that page. The other way I could do this is by pressing the @ key. The @ key is very similar, but it has a little more functionality to it. If you have a workspace with multiple users in it, the @ key will let you tag other people, but it also lets you tag other pages. So again, I'll type in PTYA and press enter, and now I have two links to the same page, just doing it through different ways. Another way you can do this is by pressing the / key and going to the link page menu button over here toward the bottom. And over here, I'll simply do PTYA again. And now I have the page linked 3 different times through 3 different methods. Now the cool thing is if I go to Part-Time YouTuber Academy, on the top of the page, I will see the back link over here. And this will actually show me all the other pages that are referencing this page. So you can quickly go back and forth and see how many times one page is being referenced and see why it's being referenced as well. So what I'm actually going to do now is update my YouTube mission control page. Right now, if I go to my mission control, you'll see all the data just kind of sitting here. What I want to do instead is create subpages for each section of this page. And later on in the next video, we'll be formatting it to look nice. But before I do that, I don't want to have just one massive page with all my information on it. I want to create a subpage for the goal of the channel, for who's the channel for, a subpage for my editing assets, a subpage for all my branding stuff, just a different page for every single section. Now the way I'm going to do that is actually really cool. A lot of apps, if you want to do something like this, you have to basically start over and do a lot of manual work. With Notion, everything is very fluid. So all I have to do is go to the first heading over here for goal of this channel. I'm going to click on the drag button for more options, and I'm going to turn this in to a page. And the way I do that is by pressing this button over here, and now I have a page. But I want to move all this information into that subpage. All I have to do now is click and drag on all the blocks I want to move, and literally drag it into the page. And now I have a new page with just this information, and I can add an icon. For this page, I'm going to make it a goal icon. And now you'll see if I go back to my mission control, I have a new page just for that. So let me go through right now and add subpages for all the different sections that we just talked about. So I've gone ahead and turned all the different headings into individual subpages, and I've added some fun icons for each one. The last thing I'm going to do at the bottom over here is simply add in a link to the 2 classes I've taken online that are YouTube related. One is Part-Time YouTuber Academy, and the other is a Twitter class that I took, which was very helpful for learning how to use Twitter. I'll link that down below here as well. So now I have all my subpages created for my YouTube mission control, and I'm ready to make this look as nice as I possibly can be. In the next video, we'll be talking all about formatting. If you want to follow along with the series, be sure to check out that playlist linked down below in the description, but also somewhere on the screen right now. I will see you in the next video.